I think the most important thing is not about having a healthy body and being really having no joy in life whatsoever. It's about getting that balance. And I think, if we can learn to enjoy every minute and be happy, you don't have to wait for it. We can have it now. Just everything in moderation, depending on what the bigger life goal is as well, right?
Everything works out all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. I think that's the key with a lot of the longevity stuff, is that they enjoy life. They don't hold on to animosity or resentment or anything like that.
I'll beat you to it. Happy New Year, buddy. Happy New Year. How you doing?
Happy New Year. I'm doing okay. You can probably hear from the voice. I've got a bit of a lurgy or virus going on, which I think has been lurking around for about a week, and it's kind of been peaking and dipping a little bit. And I've got some very busy days coming up, so I think I'm feeling a little bit battered, if I'm honest, for the beginning of the year. Although I'm here, I'm present, which is all good. And I've had a very busy day driving up to Essex and Chelmsford today, and luckily I had lots of lovely students. But it's still, I was in the car this morning at 7 a.m, pitch black, thinking, what am I doing? And what am I doing? As I really wanted to be curled up in bed. But how about you? What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, obviously, we've been communicating via WhatsApp and stuff. So I've been Insomnia has come back in full force, which is kind of frustrating because I've been really on top of it for so long. I mean, I'm talking a couple of years, but at the moment, I'm back on the Insomnia meds. But hey, not talking about the sad stuff. Bring the energy up. I had a great Christmas, spent it with my sister, who was amazing and looked after us. It was great. As you said, you really switch off sometimes when you're not in your own house. You haven't got a host. You can kind of get up whenever you want and be wined and dined in style. So that was really lovely. Saw my mum, which was good. And back, straight back into the work folds now. But my daughter had a chance to go away skiing, so she had a nice time and learned to ski. So she's achieved something. And look, it's been full of games, food, way too much processed sugar, way too much wine, all of the things that you kind of give yourself for over a Christmas period. And now I'm back on it and trying to get the extra pounds back off the waistline. But yeah, no, it's been good.
Actually, we played this kind of cool game over Christmas that someone put me onto. It's kind of like a charades game, but not. So you get into two teams.
You're getting two teams, okay.
Right, and everyone writes down 10 items on a piece of paper, and you let's say get 10 post-it notes, write one item per post-it note. And it could be anything from the Eiffel Tower to a car to, London to whatever. So some sort of adjective, noun thing. And then you put it into the pot and you get it out. Well, we swap over. So whatever, if team A wrote the things, then team B reads the ones from team A, and you read it. One person gets it, reads it, and then they have to describe it. So, for example, Eiffel Tower, you'd say, famous monument in Paris, right? And then they'll guess Eiffel Tower. Then once everyone's had a go, so you have a minute to get through all of the people, to get through all of the ones for one person, and then you keep swapping over until everyone has had a go. So if there's 5 people in your team, all 5 people have had a go, and then the second round is you just have to just act it out. So obviously, you are using the same words, or the same nouns, or the same thing. So with Eiffel Tower, you might just put your hands up in a little triangle or something like that, and then people go, "Oh, Eiffel Tower." And then
because they already know what the words are.
Yeah, and then the third round, you just say one word. So then this would be like Paris, and then they go Eiffel Tower, and we were doing that, and we did that a couple of nights in a row with different groups, and actually it got pretty good. So quite good fun, because I kind of missed that. I don't think the previous years we've been playing many games. We've been really watching movies, but this Christmas we didn't watch any movies. We just played a few games. I hosted this Christmas.
Yeah, nice pictures I saw.
Yeah, so that was good fun. I cooked everything except for the turkey. My brother-in-law cooked that and brought it round. But no dramas, which was good. We had very strategic seating plan, which met the approval of my nieces, and I was like, there was a lot of thought that went into the seating plan of who to put where, and I think that succeeded. I mean, that's crucial.
Good. Good.
But and that was it. New Year was quite chilled, to be fair.
We're playing a lot of Imposter You seen Imposter? It's a bit like I told you that my favorite game anyway, Chameleon. So basically, like a thing on that, you have to use your phone, and everyone knows the same word, but one person is the imposter. That's quite a lot of fun.
That's what we played as well. Actually, my niece introduced me to that. So
yeah,
we played. That's good fun. Yeah,
quite good fun. On the health side of things, so apart from the sleeplessness, so I'm back into my sleep gadgets. So that's been quite fun. Trying to get them all out of the attic or wherever it is, because I haven't been using them. So I'm back into my cooling pillows and my routines and all those things. But I seem to have just about got on the right side of it now. I got 9 nights I went with relative sleeplessness. Had a bit of saw the doctors. They gave me a sleep monitor. So I averaged 2 hours, 38 minutes for 4 days. So they were like, right, we're going to get you back on your meds, because they don't give them out as easy as they used to. Now you've got to go and do a NHS talk CBT or register for that, and then they give you the meds. But that was all done. But yeah, that aside, what else? I got a paddle weekend from Lucy, which I'm quite excited about. So I'm desperately using my gadgets to try and heal my tennis elbow as quickly as possible. I've been using the laser treatment, ice packs, you name it. I've been using it. I found this little, tell you what, really interesting device. You put it on your wrist. It has like a gyroscope in it. And apparently it reduces vibrations by up to 70%. So when you're playing paddle and stuff. The idea being that when you hit something, obviously it sends a gyroscope in the opposite direction, the opposing force, which then negates the vibration that goes through your arm. So a relatively simple concept. I've no idea if this actually works, but the science seems to make sense in my head. So I wore that. I've been wearing that to try and minimize my bits and pieces. But otherwise, buddy, it's been good. I've been itching to catch up with you. Interesting time for you with your dad situation as well, and also for me going to see my mum. And
that was all right. We kind of did a little thing on Christmas Eve. Just the family, a little couple of words and a couple of thoughts and stuff. It was really, actually, there was this really weird situation that happened on Christmas Day.
Go on.
And I was kind of chatting to my brother-in-law, and I kind of just did this action. He said something, and I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I kind of slapped my hands and I go, "Let's do it." And then I felt it, and he said, "Whoa, that was your dad." Just there, I just felt your dad come through. And like when I went, "Let's do it," and I was like, and I felt it. I was like, "Whoa!" It was like really freaky. It was
That's
like
nice.
It was like momentarily it wasn't me, if that makes sense. And then actually, I did a bit of a toast, but I didn't realise I was going to get quite emotional doing the toast, because I was
It's not with you when you don't expect it, doesn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, I was hosting. I was, and I just couldn't finish it in the end. So that was quite emotional.
It's good. I think for me, on the sleepless side of things, so I went to my sister's, had a lie-in. I reckon it was the longest lie-in I've had in probably, 2 years. Stayed in bed till like 10 past 11, quarter past 11. Also, when you got kids, for parents listening to this, you'll realise that's pretty hard to do. But I stayed in, and I'd been at someone else's house. That was fine, no issues. I woke up fully refreshed, felt amazing. Told my sister, like, that's amazing, longest I've slept in. And it was almost like my body punished me the following night. So that evening, I just couldn't get off to sleep. It was like I had too much. I just couldn't sleep. I was like, that's frustrating. So I kind of negated all the good work I did the night before. But then the following, because we were staying at my sister's, the next night I was then staying at my mum's. So I went to mum's house. I haven't stayed there much since we lost my dad. And I always get a bit of an interesting feeling when I'm there. My mum's got like a bit of a shrine to him, and is it the room that he passed away is our living room. So I just feel a little bit on edge. So I think that kind of impacted my sleep second night. I couldn't really get down, was just thinking about everything that went through, and probably not, I wasn't getting the insomnia frustration because I was kind of reminiscing about positive times with my dad, right? But it took all night. I don't think I slept anything that evening. I was just like, okay, I'm going to get up early and go out for a run and stuff. And then the third night, of course, this is where you end up worrying that you're not going to sleep, because now it's 3 nights. So you stop. The stressor now is, I need to sleep tonight. It's been 2 nights in a row. And that thought of not sleeping causes the sleeplessness, which is really frustrating. So that happened in the third night. And then obviously the longer that goes on, the more your mind says, I now need to sleep. I now need to sleep. And all you can think about is this, I must drop off. And of course I can't. So it was just getting worse and worse. So eventually I got to 5 nights in. I was a bit of a wreck at that point. You get irritable and you're talking, but your mind's working one way and it's not quite coming out of your mouth properly and whatever. So I went back to the doctors and then got the meds. And that's I made a mistake. Actually, I didn't listen to doctor's advice. It's like they know what they're doing, right? No, I know better. So rather than take it in advance of going to sleep, which is how you're supposed to take it, 45 minutes or so before you go to bed, because my type of insomnia is not dropping off. When I'm asleep, I'm okay. I've got consistency of sleep, but I can't get to sleep. There's different medications for different types of insomnia. I thought, no, I really don't want to use the meds. So I'd lie until 3, 4 a.m. and then take it because I just give up. Of course, I'm then using it as a reactionary thing, not as a proactive measure. So I did this. I don't know why I did it, but for 3 or 4 nights now, I was still going to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And then I'll take the med, then I'll go to sleep. So I'm still living on very limited. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is not helping. I'm actually teaching my body that I can now only do it with the meds. So I then took it in advance. And since then, I've been starting to sleep much better. And I'm just weaning myself back off them now. But yeah, sleeplessness aside, I've got out my cooling pillows, that keep themselves cool at night. I've had the magnesium back out. I've had the NeuroStim on my ear.
Have you been doing the sauna? Because you were saying that doing a spin set and then a sauna.
Yeah, it was working. I have been using the sauna, but I think I got to such a state of not being. It wasn't enough to. I mean, look, I even tried, what you'd call as sex in the bedroom, right? If my kids are listening to this, that didn't even work. Like, nothing was sending me to sleep. My wife was like, if that's not working, then, I don't know what else we can do.
It's tough when that happens. I mean, I have never really had that sort of issue. I mean, I used to struggle a little bit with sleep way back when in terms of like taking a long time to nod off and stuff. And last night, to be fair, it wasn't a great night's sleep. I went to bed at 9, but I was waking up. I woke up at 1, and then I kept waking up like in sweats. I think I was breaking my fever, so my temperature was about 2.2 above baseline, and my heart rate was quite high. So when I woke up, I felt like I woke up around 4, and then 4:30, 5. Eventually got up at 6, and I felt like awake, but my cells and my eyes felt fatigued. It was like. So that's why I think, maybe it's the flu, maybe it's COVID, whatever, because there's a drain on my system. And then I just thought, as you were speaking, that maybe what prompted it a little bit is that I joined ClassPass as well a couple of weeks ago, and I went to a spin class last Monday and then a HIIT class on Tuesday. And I haven't, although I exercise pretty much every day, I just do basic stuff. I don't do anything like too intense. And the spin class, I remember I got to something like 104% of my maximum heart rate, or theoretical maximum heart rate, which is 172. I got to 179. So I think that, and actually when I finished, the Garmin said I needed 4 days of recovery. And then I went the next day and did a HIIT session. And then there was quite a bit of squats with weights. And then my hammies were like, for the whole week, were just.
All DOMs.
So I think there was a little bit of that, coupled with getting up at 5 o'clock on the Wednesday, driving from Brighton to London, had a tough school, 2.5 hours drive home around the M25, and it all just compounded. And now I'm just like, and also I think ultimately what it is for me is I'm not a winter person, right? I cannot take the darkness and the clouds. I need sun, warmth, and I'm jealous because my sister has gone to the Maldives for 10 days. We're leaving her kids behind.
Oh, even better.
With my mum.
Say that, should I?
Yeah, okay. So she's gone off before she starts a new job, and her husband's not currently working. They've taken the 6-year-old, to be fair, but they left the 13 and 11-year-old. So they were with me over the weekend with my mum, and then now my mum is staying at their house all week and coming back here during the day, but then going there in the evening. So there was quite a bit of like full on with them as well. But yeah, I'm looking at that going, I really need sea, beach, like just a recharge. I just need a week recharge somewhere.
That's one of those things in after Christmas, you get it a lot. People feel like they've had a holiday, now they need a holiday, because it's not just, you're doing other things, fine. It's quite a social holiday for most. They're with family a lot. So you're not just, relaxing on holiday. There's often a lot of people are hosting, cooking, buying things, the stress of Christmas. Then there's all the indulgence and all the food and sweets and chocolate and alcohol. So actually by the end, your body, isn't used to this on the other 11 months of the year. So you get to the 12th month, and by January, everyone's just feeling like they need a little bit of a detox, a little bit of recovery time. Everyone's got the sniffles or whatever, because you've just been hammering the body from every which way but loose, really. So it kind of catches up with you. Interestingly, talking about hammering the body, I took up your advice to, in addition for the sleeplessness, and to do a double whammy and booked in some acupuncture. I've got another session tomorrow. So the guy did my arm and did my for sleep and stuff. And actually, to be fair, I slept very well that evening. But I also took the meds, so I don't know which way was, whether it helped or whatever. It was good. But I haven't been to see an acupuncturist for, God, it's got to be 16, 17 years. When I used to live in St. Albans, early doors, well, maybe less than that, maybe 10, 12 years ago. And the guy I saw starts now with a consultation. The consultation was a tongue analysis. Which hasn't been done on me before. I've since Googled it and looked online about Chinese medicine. It's quite a big thing over there where they studied the tongue. It was interesting. So before it even started, he said, put your tongue out, whatever, and he analyzes what kind of tongue you got. And he said, I've got very low yin, Y-I-N, very low yin energy at the moment. He said, you have a high energy personality, but your energy in your body is very low because you're not getting sleep, and he could sense it. And then I said, well, how would you tell that from a tongue? It's a bit weird. And he's like, well, you've got jagged edges around the outside. It's not smooth. The color, he said, you've got cracks in your tongue, which everyone has, but yours are more a bit like you're being in a desert, and desert hasn't got water. The cracks start to open.
You don't have water, that's for sure.
Well, that's what he said. He said, you're dehydrated. That's quite impressive because I'm always dehydrated. So he said, your body is dehydrated. But quite an interesting idea of looking. He said it's the only muscle in the body which is visible to the naked eye. So we can look at that and really understand what's going on in your body. He said we can identify various illnesses and ailments and where you are and things like that. And he said my treatments will often be related to what I see in your tongue. So when I next see you, we'll do another tongue analysis and we'll see where you are and whether you're improving. But he did a lot of needles in my arm for tennis elbow as well. And I have to say, alongside Lucy, who's been working, my wife's been working it as well as a sports massage therapist, it has probably seen the quickest improvement having post Lucy and his treatment straight after each other. It's been much better, but still not recovered.
I mean, I can't remember if I mentioned, I think it's tennis elbow as well. And it's to the point where I can't, like, little things I can't do now with that. Like, if I'm like trying to dry my foot with my right hand or straighten that elbow or lift up a bag or anything like that, it's really painful. And so I've got that and my Achilles, my left Achilles at the moment. So I will probably, there's an acupuncturist down in Brighton that I went and saw last summer before I went away to Mind Valley. And in one session, it felt, this one on my foot was really bad. They did a really good job. He didn't analyze my tongue, mind you, but we did have a consultation. And so I think it's always about the therapist as well. So when you find a good therapist, one that, and it's not an exact science acupuncture anyway, but I do feel like, there's a lot to it. There's a lot. I mean, this Chinese medicine, for example, is 3,000, 4,000 years old, right?
Yeah.
Traditional, like common medicine is 100 years old.
Yeah.
The pharmacology system of medicine. So, there's got to be something for it. And I think you just try different modalities. But I do remember feeling very sleepy when I had acupuncture.
I mean, this is one of those things where it takes decades to learn. Probably, I mean, this guy's been doing it for 30 years. He knows this trade inside out, back to front. When you've got it to that level, it's not a bad little money spinner because by the time he's done the acupuncture, he then just leaves you for 45 minutes. And you just sit there and you just go, I'll have a little, almost have a snooze if I could sleep. You're lying there and it's a really good time. Actually, I said to my wife, it's almost worth the investment just to switch off because you can't do anything. There's no massage going on. He just leaves the room and comes back. And actually, you hear the chaos of the way they, of everything else going around them and the way they manage their kind of massage studios. With the two I've been to, are very different to what we would understand to be a modern spa type experience. It's a little bit chaotic with things going on and things being moved around. But
on Friday, actually, I had a busy day. I was down in Kent, and then I was teaching in the evening. I had a 3-hour block where it wasn't worth going home because I'd just have to leave and come out again. So I've been, a friend of mine opened up a biohacking place in London Bridge. So anyone who's in London, check out this place in London Bridge. It's called Holosophy on Tooley Street, which is like that street by London Bridge. I think I did a talk there that I invited you to. And they've got all the biohacking gear there, right? They've got the red light stuff. They've got the neurovisor, which is like this flashing light that comes on your eyes, and it's like you're tripping on mushrooms or something. So I needed a recharge. So I just called them up and I said, I'm going to pop down for a couple of hours. And I went and I just lay on a PEMF mat on a bed. have these headphones on with all this like kind of crazy relaxing sounds, and then I had a neurovisor type device flashing on my.
That doesn't sound relaxing, having loads of lights going.
That's kind of like, that one is, I guess, more trippy than relaxing, but I felt recharged after it. And then I did a bit of a red light session as well. But they have all sorts of things there. They've got the ice bath there. They've got power plates. They've got the Carol bike. Have you come across the Carol bike before? I've not actually tried it myself.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it to you a little while ago. I hadn't heard of it before, but yeah, I have come across it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think it uses AI to basically adjust the intensity.
No, it came across on the documentary. It's the guy that uses it.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson uses it. He talks about it in there, and he's able to.
They've got a Carol bike there as well, which I haven't tried. But they've got quite a few little gadgets and things like that. So it's actually turned out to be quite a convenient location for me, because sometimes I've got like 3 hours to kill before I'm teaching if I'm in town, and I'm like, where do I go? And so I can go there and recharge. And that's really what it's designed for, is like, can we have that 15-20 minute reset to just like...
Can you just walk in? Does it take walk-ins?
They do. I think you can try something for free to begin with, but then it's like a bit of a membership thing. And I think they've changed the pricing a little bit now. You can maybe just buy a session of something. Is your ice bath still working?
Yeah, well, it's off at the moment because I'm changing the water. But it's still relatively temperamental. I will do a full review for the company at some point, but I said to them, I won't do it on the show until it's working properly. Like, I've had a few issues with it, but I've been back in the ice bath. I mean, literally, I've been biohacking. It's funny. I've been doing everything I could possibly do with gadgets, from laser therapy on my arm to saunas to ice baths to the NeuroSim, which is really good for stimulating the vagus nerve. But I haven't been optimizing my nutrition at all. And it's a bit like the whole idea of you're going to, you buy a really, really expensive bike because it's lighter. But we all know the quickest way to save your weight is to lose some weight rather than take it off the bike, right? You pay thousands of pounds to shed 7 grams off your bike frame. At the moment, I'm optimizing myself with gadgets, not with nutrition. So it's not holistic. And I think my body's probably feeling that. So I think now that the majority of the New Year food has been eaten and Christmas is out of the way, I'll have to go back. I actually did have a fast. I haven't fasted for ages. I fasted.
Yeah, you said you were going to do one.
Yeah, it was good actually. I didn't go for as long as. I'll tell you why I didn't. I was in the middle of the fast. I think I'd gone around about 30 hours in. And I don't know why, but something popped into my head to go, is fasting good or bad for insomnia? It never occurred to me to check. I just thought I'd have a bit of a reset.
Yeah.
And everything I read was, do not fast if you're struggling from insomnia. It can make it worse.
It's probably bad.
So I cancelled going, because I think I said to you I was going to try and go 72 hours. It was just liquids, no food. So I just I cancelled it there and then in 30 hours. But yeah, I did feel pretty good for it, to be honest. I thought my body needed a bit of a reset, but I think I'm keen to have another one and go again.
I thought that when you were saying you're going to do fast, because basically whenever I've fasted in the past, and I haven't fasted for a while, but like if you think about it out in the wild, if you've gone without food for a little bit, you're hyper vigilant because you're trying to find animals and you're trying to get any advantage you can. So you're hyper focused and you've got that energy to kind of grab that meat or whatever. And so, probably
similar to what I was saying when I looked online. It's like you go into survival mode. You go, and it's like, it's just not good. If you're trying to switch off, it's not going to work. So I did cancel it. That after 30 hours.
My friend who also lives in Devon, I've mentioned him before. He's been doing a fasting thing 3 days a week now, right? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, where he basically does a water only fast. and then he let it go a little bit during Christmas. And I think it was a week or maybe 10 days, whatever it was, he put back on 7 kilos. And he's like,
wow.
So he was, I think, 115 at the beginning of last year. And then he went down to as light as 94. And he's quite a big rugby guy anyway, like 6 foot, whatever. And he was like, seeing his abs a little bit more. And he's been doing 3 days fasting for the last year, and it's really worked for him. And then just in the space of 7 days, he's like 7 kilos.
Yeah. Well, I've been putting on about 1 kilo a month since I stopped doing my triathlon training. And I'm now in my 32-inch jeans are back rather than the 30s. But I'm at peace with that. I tell you what, I've been prioritizing other things. So something's got. I mean, it doesn't mean I can't live a little bit healthier. I mean, I won't
Yeah,
even.
well, I was going to say with the nutrition, like, because my other friend who I know through that friend who's fasting, he sent me his blood work the other day because he goes, "Oh, you understand blood work and stuff," and I was like, "Well, not really, but to be honest, all I did was put it into ChatGPT, and which I don't think he thought to do because I said, look, all I'm going to do is put it into ChatGPT, and then I got ChatGPT to summarize it all, and it was better than he thought. He thought it was bad, but he is really sporty, right? He's massively into tennis. He's done Ironman triathlons. He was a high level rugby player, all of this. But his nutrition, has never been, in my understanding of when I've interacted with him, that good. And basically, at some point, we're hitting our late 40s. I think you're maybe mid 40s, but you're writing checks that the body can't cash or whatever the phrase is, right? Because in your 20s, like my mate Ben, who I was talking to last night, who's the one that does 3 days a week fasting, and he was saying how he felt so good. He's now training in the gym 3 times a week, and he's lifting more intelligently and all this. And he's like, if I knew all this when I was 20, I'd be like unstoppable. And I'm like, yeah, but the whole point is in your 20s. Your body doesn't do anything because it's going to make really bad mistakes. And then when you get to your 40s, you're like, actually, the margin for error
is less. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, the window shortens, right? I mean, I'm noticing it a lot at the moment. I'm going to say mid 40s, but you definitely notice that the window for. I mean, it's so much easier for me to put on weight now than it's ever been before. But then I've got to look at myself and go, it's my own fault. Like, I'm aware of my nutritional choices. I'm supposed to be gluten-free. I have not been gluten-free over Christmas at all. I will go back to it. And I know you say that I have been eating gluten with awareness, so that's what I'm doing. But I can't then be angry that I feel shit at the end of it. And
exactly.
I'm not sleeping and stuff. So
also, I always go back to this phrase where people ask me about my kind of meat eating habits, right? Because I'm not eating meat, but I don't. And I'm just, like I said, running an experiment for the last 15 years. I don't think meat is unhealthy per se, but for me, there's a phrase I think Jack Canfield said, right? 99% or 100% is a cinch, 99% is a bitch. What that means is it's a lot easier to be 100% committed to something rather than 99% committed. And the example I give in my book is, would you rather be in a marriage that is 99% committed to monogamy or 100% committed to monogamy, right? And so it's the same thing, I think, sometimes with the gluten as well. I was a little bit more liberal the last 4 or 5 years with gluten, and I've noticed that that's been a problem. And then when I got these results back with, this, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it on air or not, but I've mentioned it to you, I'm sure, where the diagnosis was coming where there's potentially rheumatoid arthritis going on in the body.
Yeah.
And
did you get to the bottom of that?
Well, I got an ultrasound on my foot a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still waiting. At the moment, the situation is, the numbers are the numbers, but because I'm not exhibiting loads of joint issues and movement issues in the morning, that is patient-initiated referral, so I would then chase them up again. But then I'm thinking, is this tennis elbow, is this wrist thing, is this ankle thing, is it all related or not? And so for me, it's about just really doing anything that's anti-inflammatory. And so gluten, I know it's easy for me to kind of slip back into it if I need a quick meal deal and I get a wrap, because I can't really do the bread, but I can do a wrap just about. But internally, it doesn't work for me, and I can feel it.
It's probably not helping my tennis elbow because that's all inflation of the tendon, and I've been eating loads of gluten, and I know I've got intolerance to it, so it's probably not helping.
So I think I think, like I say, 100% is a cinch, 99% is a bitch, because then you're kind of constantly doing a little bit of damage, and then you're repairing, a little bit of damage, repairing, a little bit of damage, repairing, and you really need to give it a complete break for 6 months or a year and rebuild everything. And so I'm doing that, and being a bit more strict with that. I need to be a bit more consistent with the Kirk stuff, which actually they are. I spoke to them, and hopefully for our listeners, we'll get a code out for you. They said that they can do us a code to make it a bit easier for them to get.
I don't think I've missed a Kirk day since I told you about it.
Oh, that's good.
For me, it's religious. Like, I don't know why it's become part of my routine, but
That's good.
I just notice a big difference. I really do.
Yeah, so I need to go. I'll have one when I get off the call to you. The other thing I need to look into, maybe we should do a show on it when we can both do a bit of research. We talked about peptides before? I can't remember.
Briefly, I think you were keen to come back to it. I think I brought it up
I think
before
we
and you
need
hadn't.
to do a bit of research and have a little chat about peptides and everything. Maybe we should actually bring someone on and talk about peptides one day. But I'm keen to understand peptides and how that might help with rheumatoid arthritis, because the conversation I had with someone who has a peptide company was saying that some of that RA stuff is to do with basically gut issues, gut inflammation. I don't really have any gut issues, but like if you've got gluten and the gut impermeability going through, like so things coming through the gut membrane that shouldn't be, you need to sort that out. And rheumatoid arthritis ultimately is an autoimmune disease, and so anything autoimmune is the body getting confused and attacking itself, thinking something's like dangerous.
Yeah.
And so my thinking always is it's to do with the subconscious, and subconsciously we need to train the subconscious to say that's okay. It's not a pathogen or anything like that. So yeah, I need to look into that and be a bit more serious with some of that stuff, I think, coming up.
Well, look, what about, because I haven't asked you yet, anything nice you get for Christmas? Any New Year's resolutions?
I have no New Year's resolutions as such. What did I get for Christmas? I got a foot massage voucher from one of my sisters.
Very nice.
My other sister, well, apparently the main present they haven't given me, it's still at the house. But they gave me a nice, lovely a jumper I would never normally buy, but it was like a nice, cozy kind of wool jumper. But the best one was probably my mum. She bought me a pair of Vivo barefoot trainers, which I kind of wanted those ones anyway, and I was going to buy them myself, but I think she bought them and said, "Oh, this is going to be your Christmas present." And it was like these warm. They're like really. They look like a bit like, the Michelin Man. This kind of.
Yeah.
So they're kind of a little bit like that, but I wanted them because, like, when I go for my walks along the beach in Brighton, sometimes your feet get a bit cold and stuff, unless you're wearing really like thick shoes. And so I got those. I think that's basically. I didn't really get much else. So it's a bit weird because, look, I end up buying like 11 presents because I'm buying for all the nieces and all the. And then I think I got maybe 3. So
it's the gift. It's the main gift is the giving, right? Not the receiving. So that's lucky.
So, okay. What about you?
Well, I think the standout for me, which I'm quite excited about, which is why I'm desperately trying to fast track this elbow healing piece, is I've got a paddle weekend coming up at the end of January, which Lucy's booked for me, which will be.
What does that mean?
Basically, just a weekend of paddle. I get to stay away at a hotel, and you've got 3 hours of coaching on both days. The group there, you play tournaments. You just basically just paddle all day long, really, for two solid days without any worry that I'm, taking up all my family time because it's been purchased for me by my wife with full permission. So,
and also, I noticed when your hand there, I thought you'd found your Aura ring.
This is a good story with it. This is one of those Kickstarter products. It's a Muse ring, which I ordered in 2022 or 2023.
Oh my God.
I have sent so many reminders about what the hell is happening with this order because I purchased it so long ago, and you get the whole pictures, factory, and I was like, this has been 3 years. It was due to be delivering like in May 23. And it without any expectation really, because I've kind of given up on it.
Yeah.
It just appeared in the post just before Christmas, and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice little early Christmas present to me." So it's a Muse ring, which so it's titanium. I'll be honest, it's not as good as an Oura ring. I wish it was, and all the hype on Kickstarter suggested it would be better. It's okay. I think the app is a little bit basic. I've got a a Whoop band anyway, and it doesn't do anything additional to the Whoop band. I've actually got both on at the minute. I've been comparing the data, which is quite interesting. Because now you go, I compare my Garmin data with my Muse data with my Whoop band data, and they're all different. So it's like, I don't know which one to trust.
You stick to one. I mean, I always say, like, whether they're accurate or not, it doesn't matter, as long as they're consistently inaccurate.
Yeah.
And you stick with it. And like my ring today gave me a readiness score of 35. Like,
That's
just
quite,
really
quite low. That's quite standard for me, I think. I'm just
it's
going to
a
get my Muse app. I can show you what you
1
get.
to 100, and I'm normally in the mid to high 80s. That's my normal readiness, is 85. And to be 35 is
it's low. But you're a bit under the weather, aren't you, as you said?
Well, yeah, exactly. My HRV was something like 18. Like terrible.
So on this, you get a day strain score, you get average HR, steps, calories, a stress score, sleep, a readiness score like before, sleep performance score, recovery score, and a vitals score. Your vitals include your RHR, your HRV, your respiratory rate, and your skin temperature.
Yeah, that's the same as aura. Vitals.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. It's all right because I wasn't ever expecting to get it. I was absolutely delighted.
You have to pay a subscription on that now or not?
No, that's the beauty of it. That's one of their sellers. There's no more cost to pay, nothing for the app and nothing for anything else. It's just a little bit bulkier. If you can see it there, it's a little bit bulkier. Sticks out a bit more. It's not plastic, it's titanium, but apparently that's got a feel of a bit like plastic. It feels a bit like plastic. It's very light. But hey, look, I'm happy with that. But I'm trying to get used to wearing something that I feel like it's really oversized and big on my hand. I was happy with the music.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, like, I think all these wearables, for me, they work, like the Aura, and I mean, I don't use the Garmin so much for tracking, except for when I'm on the bike and walks and things like that. But I was saying to a friend today that, one of the biggest changes I made when I got the Aura ring was changing how late I ate dinner, right? And that made the biggest difference to like HRV readings and things like that. The later I ate, the worse it became. And the other thing it helps me with is that I'm very much attuned to what number I'll see on the screen before I see it, because I'm pretty familiar with my body. But what it does do, and I almost didn't look at it this morning, because it can sway me in terms of, like, if I'm at 67 or something, I feel good, but I look at it and it's 67. I'm not going to go for a spin class or a HIIT class, because that's when it's going to drop you off even further. So it's kind of useful to basically steer you away from getting ill, because you don't go too far into the red.
I'll tell you about the red. I got red in the score, I think, of 1 or 5. I'm sure it was 1. I'm sure that was but then the morning of an Ironman race.
Wasn't that on your Garmin, though? That wasn't on your...
On my Garmin. It was on the morning of an Ironman race. I was like, this is the one score. Presumably because I've been anxious and you're up all night, you're not sleeping properly, so it doesn't know what you're doing. But you wake up and you go, don't want to see a readiness score of 1 on the day it's a bloody race day. This is not what I wanted to see. 100. I'm ready to go. I'm trained for this. Like, oh my God. But it puts you in a negative mindset. Because, oh no, is there something going wrong? Am I feeling ill? Am I really up for it?
That's why they're a bit of a double-edged sword. And I think for people who get anxious or, are obsessive about things, I don't think they're a good idea. I think there are other measures they can use, just like self-reflection, how they feel, maybe it's their clothing, whatever it might be. I think for me, I'm a little bit more data-driven, I think, in some respects. And also, it's not an overwhelm of data with the Oura Ring, and it's quite subtle. So for me, it kind of works. I
like the Oura Ring. One day, mate, I'll find it in my house. One day.
You'll find it, yeah.
And when the software doesn't work anymore and it doesn't connect and like that.
Oh, okay. All right. So what is your New Year's resolution then? What is your thing for the year, if there is one?
I've got lots of targets and goals. I'll go back to our Stoic philosophy thing of control what you can, cope with what you can't, and concentrate on what's important. So I will cope with the sleeplessness and the things that I can, but I'll try and control it the best way I can with improving my nutrition to begin with, losing a little bit of weight, all the standard things you can't with a New Year's resolution, I think. But this year I've got the release of 2 books, so I'm just proofreading the first one, which is called The Payroll Pivot, from moving from invisibility to influence. So that's back. I'm reading it through chapter by chapter, and I've realized, as you'll know, proofreading takes way longer than you think, because I keep wanting to make I've got to stop making micro edits, because I know it'll never be perfect, and I know perfect is the enemy of just getting stuff out. So I couldn't think what that phrase was, but so the first book's come out. Then I've got my second book, which is I'm really passionate about, which is the Fear Equation book, coming out I'm aiming for August. It might be September. So again, that's almost at the end. I'll get back to the food feeding stage and that, but I really want to continue my deep dive into the world of fear and psychology of fear, and we'll bring it up on the show. And as you know, I've been liaising with you about what to share, what not to share, how comfortable I am sharing about some of the stories I've got. But I think it'd be good for us to talk about some of the variables in the equation itself, which is anxiety plus uncertainty times imagination. But I think we could probably do a show dedicated to anxiety on itself, really. I think something that a lot of people are struggling with at the moment, and they don't really necessarily understand it, don't know how to move through it. So I think we could probably do an episode or two on some of those elements. But I think for me, it's just moving more into that discipline. I've got a couple of coaching clients I'm already working with who are keen to understand fear for themselves and how they can overcome it. But interestingly, I want to walk my own walk. So I've booked in, I should have mentioned this actually. So next time we record, will I be into it? Or it's going to be close. I've booked myself into a 9-hour spider therapy session where I go in.
Okay, yeah, you said... No,
I'm going in. So it's in Surrey. I'm seeing a woman who's renowned for. She's been on like GMTV and all these kind of places. She's talked about this on many TV channels and forums and things. She's quite well known in this space. But she has every type of spider you can think of in her house, and it's 9 hours. The first 4 hours are all CBT based hypnosis, things like that, to get you used to what you're going to do, and then the second half of the day is all the exposure therapy stuff. So it's weird because I called to make the booking and I literally had some of the bodily responses you would have as if it was there, just talking about spiders and saying, I want to book this course. And actually it's a weird sensation choosing to book something that you are terrified of. Like it's a bit weird. I remember thinking this is like an out of body experience. I was on the phone going, this is just weird. I'm actually asking with permission for you to just terrify me for 9 hours. I know that's not how it's going to go, but it's how my body works. So she said, don't take any caffeine on the day because it'll heighten all your stresses. And come prepared, relaxed clothes, whatever. But if it works, I'll be delighted. I'm going with an open mindset.
Yeah.
It means that, I'm studying fear. I'm helping other clients navigate fear. And although phobias, I think, were probably slightly different to the kind of fear that I'm working with clients on, it does sit kind of at the far end of what I would call psychological fear. It kind of taps into survival fear in terms of a response, whereas I'm more concerned with sort of middle ground psychological fear. But I think it's an interesting journey for me because there isn't much else I'm particularly terrified of.
It's funny actually because I was thinking of, like, don't take this the wrong way, but I was thinking about you this morning in the shower, and the reason for this is I was taking a shower this morning at some unearthly hour, and there was a little spider in there, and I was thinking, would that be a kind of spider that you'd be afraid of, like just because it's on its own, it's not in the cobwebs and it's not in the shed, and it was only, the size of a thumbnail or something like that. It wasn't that big.
Probably not. It does depend on the body and the style. It's the English wolf spider that terrifies me because that's what we had in the attic of my house. So the big brown ones that don't actually have webs.
Spider, I think freaked out with. Like, I've never really seen a big, like a spider the size of your hand. I have not seen. I think that would freak me out.
Yeah. So we'll see. These are the spiders.
You'll be holding them by the end of the day. You know that.
Well, that's what she reckons. Yeah, I can't actually imagine that to be true at the moment, but I'm going to go and I hope that she's right and I'm wrong, because for me, just even talking about it gives me all the same anxious symptoms of elevated heart rate and panic and whatever. So if she can overcome that in a day, I'll be very impressed. Although the testimonials, honestly, of other people that have done this course is phenomenal. Like people that rate themselves 10 out of 10 for fear. I don't put myself 10 out of 10. I can remove a spider from my kid's bedroom and all sorts, just not this one type. And that's all because when I grew up in an attic room where these things were just everywhere. But the interesting thing about fear, if we go back to the psychology of it, is when you're fearful of something, that's when you look for it. So if you're scared, if you're anxious about your safety and you don't get in a car because you're worried it could have an accident, you start looking for the things that could cause the fear. So for me, I go into a room and I'm, or a shed, and my wife will go without looking at anything except the hammer we were going in for. I'm not going in like I'm 007, looking under things, trying to find things. Where's there a spider? You look for the thing, and I don't want to find one. So what am I doing? I should take the approach my wife takes of walking in, getting the hammer and walking out and not looking at anything, tunnel vision. But that's not how fear works. So I do find the whole idea of just examining why we do the things we do, because also we can become fearful of fear itself. And I just think the whole psychology of it.
I guess that's why they say, you know, that phrase, right? False evidence appearing real, is that you're looking for evidence, to support your foundational.
Exactly. But my foundation isn't really based on anything either. I know they can't hurt me, so there's an irrationality, but that's why it's a phobia rather than something else.
They can.
They can in Australia, yes, yeah.
Deadly forms of spiders in Australia, so it's not totally without totally
foundation.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't really have any goals per se this year, except I feel like I want to get a little bit more order in some of my routines. Both, well, I suppose the bigger goal from a fitness point of view is to have some regularity in a group class environment, because I haven't been doing any of that. So that's why I've joined ClassPass, because at the end of the day, I don't have consistency whether I'm in London or Brighton, and I'm not going to get that for foreseeable future. So I can't really join anything permanently. But ClassPass, where I can then go to the yoga place I want, and then I can go to the spin place I want, and then I can go to the HIIT place I want, because I can't find a place that does everything to the standard that I want it. And I really did enjoy going to that spin class and the HIIT class last week. So I think for me, it's to be that, and also to do more with the heart rate, because I don't think I've been really elevating my heart rate. I do a lot of zone 2 training, I guess, like, because even when I cycle to work, I'm on the electric bike, so my heart rate rarely peaks beyond 130. It's usually around 110, 120. So getting into that 160, 170 range once or twice a week, I think would be good. So that's one of the things. And the other thing is really just, like I said, just to get into a bit more of a pattern, whether it's waking up at the same consistent hour or, reading more, a few things like that, a few like things that I feel like have dropped by the wayside a little bit that I want to be a bit more consistent with. So rather than like specific goals, it's more about adopting a few habits.
Well, they say a year from now, you'll wish you started today, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, for those actually that were hoping for an episode today on our first one back in the new year on habits and keeping resolutions, things like that. The reason we haven't done it, we have recorded the episode in the past. So you can go back a year from now and you'll get our last year's 2025 first episode of the year, which I think was all about atomic habits and keeping our resolutions and things like that. But what I do know, and what we both know, is it's good to have a plan, I think. Because I think ultimately, like, your life is going to be no better than the plans you make and the actions we take that connect to those plans, right? And we need to have our goals. No, they kind of vision drives decision, so to speak. So I think it's good to take a moment. I think you've talked about it at Christmas time, to reflect on the year that's been, realize and be thankful for the things that have gone well, and make sure we take a moment to celebrate those things. And then also to understand where we are in our journey to know where to take the next step. And I think because you heard a podcast I did recently, I had a coaching client recently that came to me. We had a session, and they said, look, I feel really disappointed with where I am, because I always grow up imagining the Disney lifestyle. I watched Disney movies and I wanted the happy ending. And I said, but without giving age away or anything like that, I was like, how do you know that's not the life you're on? Like, every single Disney story, in the middle of it, it's all betrayal, difficulty, toil, hard work, disappointment, infidelity, death. The happy bit comes at the end, right? So you just don't know where you are in your journey. So don't be like despondent that you haven't lived the Disney life that you imagined for yourself. That could still come. You're just halfway through your story. So I think it's good sometimes just to reflect on where we are and where we're going.
It's like I say something similar that I heard from someone else once, where it's like everything works out all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end. Yeah,
there you go. I know, or we used to say as well, or as you still do, that this too shall pass. It's if you're having that tough moment in the new year, or you really just, a lot of people come into the new year disappointed with themselves because they've had a really good time, they've let themselves relax, they've put on a few kilos, and then they kind of chastise themselves for it. It's like, I'm that person, but without the criticism. I've done everything with full awareness, but now I have an opportunity to do something about it, to get myself back on the right path. I'm not going to be angry for having a really good Christmas at my sister's house and for eating food I know damn well I shouldn't be. I enjoyed that moment. I enjoyed the alcohol. I enjoyed the cakes. And now it's time to get back on with my goals for this year and enjoy it again next December.
Yeah, I had a few drinks over Christmas, but not that many. I stuck to champagne, although I did buy this special wine for Christmas Day, and then I didn't even get stuck into it. I was drinking champagne, but I just noticed, and I only had maybe 3-4 glasses on Christmas Day, and then the same on Boxing Day. But the next day, although I wasn't really hungover or anything, but there was just this edge that had gone. That I noticed, and I think I've talked about this before when I was traveling. I can't remember. I might have talked about this before when I was traveling. But when I was traveling after university, I went traveling for 25 months, backpacking around the world. And I remember I was in Ayers Rock. I think it was Ayers Rock or Alice Springs in the centre of Australia. And I'd been traveling for about 13 months by then. And I woke up one day and I felt really strange. And then I suddenly realised that it was the first night in 13 months that I'd not had a single drink the night before. And that I'd forgotten what it felt like to wake up without having had any alcohol in my system whatsoever. And even though like you just have one beer, you don't think it's going to do much.
You're now in the inverse of that. You now know what it feels like when you've had no alcohol for ages and you suddenly have a glass.
Yeah, and then you're like, it's like, I'm not like hungover, I'm not like dangerous in the car, I'm not any of that. But there's just a thing, an edge, a sharpness that's not there. And I'm like, I don't know how people have a drink every night, because then they're living constantly in a well, maybe that's the reason, right? In a dulled sense kind of way. But I know you like to have a drink every night of wine. Do you still do that?
Funnily enough, I literally said to Lucy this morning, we need to cut down. We've drank so much red wine. We brought it all in before Christmas. We drank the whole lot. And it's like, right, we need to, this isn't helping us. And you know what? As you said, mentioned with the Ayers Rock example, you get to a point where you can drink it and you just becomes the norm. You almost, sometimes the hangover is a sign, right? As horrible as they are, that this is not good for your body. When you don't get the hangovers and you feel relatively, okay, a little bit dulled, but you can deal with it. It makes you actually almost want the alcohol again to go, now I'll give myself the lightness through the drink, which is the wrong way around. Yeah. So, I think we're going to be cutting down now. We actually literally had this conversation this morning and both of us have agreed. I think she's going to cut sugar as well, which I'm not willing to do. I probably should, but I'm just not willing to because I enjoy it too much. I know you had your wine as a bonding kind of treat thing. I was never into that so much, but one of my kind of treats for the evening that I look forward to is like a hot chocolate that I make. It's like one of these mushroom hot chocolates, right? So ashwagandha, reishi, something like that. And my nieces love it as well. So they're always like, can we have a hot chocolate? And it's a bit of a bonding experience with them and also my mum. I make her one every night when I'm making one. I bought one of the best investments I made. I bought 2 of them, one for London, one for Brighton. It's basically a hot milk maker. So you can just put the milk in and set and forget it so that you don't have to do it on the stove. And I would be lost without it because I use it pretty much 5 nights out of 7, I would say I have a hot chocolate. And that's like how other people look forward to their glass of wine in the evening, Tom Wine. Yeah, no, for sure, I get that, but a little bit healthier.
Yeah, a little bit healthier, I think, and stuff. So you may find a new thing, and if you want, I would recommend that 4 Sigmatic hot chocolate stuff. It's really good. Yeah, and also it satisfies the sweet tooth that I sometimes get after food. I need something chocolatey after food, but that kind of satisfies it for me. So.
Good, like. I don't know if it's Napoleon Hill or someone else, but it was probably just out there. But they say, like, learn to love and enjoy every moment of your life. Like, find joy in every moment of your life. And I think that if that's for you in your Ashwagandha hot chocolate or me through my glass of wine, whatever, I think the most important thing is, sometimes we pay a tax on that because we have a hangover or it's not helping our gut. But ultimately, with the reason we want a healthy body is because we want to be able to find joy in everything we do. Like, it's not about having a healthy body and being really having no joy in life whatsoever. It's about getting that balance. And I think, if we can learn to enjoy every minute and be happy, you don't have to wait for it. We can have it now. Just everything in moderation, depending on what the bigger life goal is as well, right?
Speaking of joy, I think, I don't know if you saw recently, you're familiar with Dick Van Dyke, I guess, the actor.
Yeah, of course. A Diagnosis Murder.
Well,
University television.
Chitty Bang Bang, Mary Poppins. But he celebrated his 100th birthday recently. And he is someone who clearly enjoys life, right? He's been smiling constantly for 100 years, like that. I've seen him. And also he's got a wife half his age. I think she's like in her 50s or maybe pushing 60. I'm not sure. Maybe she's in her 40s, actually. I'm not even sure. But he is someone that clearly does not want to let go. He is enjoying life. He's dancing.
For him.
And I think that's the key with a lot of the longevity stuff, is that they enjoy life. They don't hold on to animosity or resentment or anything like that, because that's ultimately that's going to eat you up inside anyway. So
that's not my favorite quote, right? Your day does not dictate your mood dictates your day.
Yeah, exactly. So you choose, right? You choose your life. So yeah.
All right, buddy. Okay. Well, it's good to see you. Happy New Year. I'm sorry you're feeling a bit under the weather. Hopefully I will look a little bit less yawny and less bloodshot-eyed next time, for those that are watching on YouTube. I'm not looking my best.
Well, that's why you need the blue light blocking glasses to hide the bags under the eyes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, could have put them on today.
I'll put my blue blockers on so that I don't look so tired.
Next time. But it's good to see you, buddy, and I hope you get over the sniffles. And listen, why don't we do a next show either on peptides, or maybe we'll cover anxiety or one of those subjects. But we'll start. If anyone listeners have any ideas of things you want us to talk about, do let us know. But I'd like to cover anxiety, uncertainty, and imagination, thoughts, things like that. And you want to cover peptides and some nutritional elements. So stay tuned, and we'll be bringing those episodes to you shortly.
Yep, absolutely. And, remember to share this out with anyone that you feel might benefit, and drop us a line at our Instagram account, mindful_paths_podcast.
Good stuff. Will do. All right, Harry. All the best, mate. Thanks, listeners. Happy New Year to everyone involved. Take care.
Bye-bye.